This is my pride and joy lemon tree here, the Meyer Improved lemon, and today we are going to make a Rancho lemon meringue pie using my own lemons. It's something I've done before on live streams, but today I'm going to do recorded content so that you can follow along, and I'm going to give you a few tips too to make a super duper lemon meringue pie. Let's head into the kitchen. Here are my Meyer Improved lemon. Meyer lemons are very juicy, so it doesn't take a lot to produce a lot of juice. And we're going to need about, 3/4 of a cup here. So I'm going to get everything in place, get all set, so you'll know everything that you need. Here's all my lemons laid out. The first thing you want to do is roll your lemons. That helps to break the membranes inside, and it releases more juice, and I can actually feel the oils. Oh, the smell of these are just amazing. So I'm going to roll these a little bit. Then we're going to get the grater out. We're going to get the outside of it, the rind here. We don't want to get down to the pith. We just want the outside of it, because believe it or not, that's really where all the lemon flavor is. You can scratch it and but you get down to the pith, the white part inside, and it is not a good eating experience. Here is my box grater, and you want to be very careful. Make sure your lemons are washed good. Go ahead and protect your fingers. We're going to go ahead and get some of this great zest, what we call lemon zest, off of this. And I'm going to get about, I think about 3 tablespoons, because I like things that are very lemony. Nice catch. I like things that are lemony here, and a lot of lemon is a wonderful, wonderful thing. You can adjust accordingly, but we're going to be adding sugar to this too. So it's not going to be the worst in the world. And you have a couple sides that you can grate it super fine, or you can get it rough. I do a combination of both. So I'm going to zest about 6 of these here. And I'm going to be careful not to get down to the pith, just the surface of it, to get that zest. They also have zesters too, but I find that they're a little hard to use. So, all right. Making a pie should be fun. Should be very rewarding. So, okay, plenty of zest. The more zest, the more lemon. I think the more people are going to like it. So there it is. I'm going to do a few more. See you guys in a bit. Like that. I'm going to do one more. I'm crazy about lemon. Lemon is such a great flavor because it's bright. It doesn't get lost in heat. It's not like orange, which is kind of an insipid flavor. Lemon is very strong, and that's what makes it so great in lemon meringue pies. I'm going to clean up a little bit here. I'm going to slice these and juice them. So I have something called a squeezer here. I just put the half lemon upside down, and I just squeeze that right over my cup. Like so. These are juicy, so you're going to get a lot of juice very quickly. Any you have left over, this is excellent for lemonade. I mean, delicious. It's not like super sharp like Portugal, Lisbon lemons, or some of the other varieties out there. They can be like a little, almost metallic in their flavor. The Meyer was just wonderful, just wonderful. And I'm using a bigger pie plate here, so I'm going to get a little more of the juice and adjust accordingly. This squeezer makes it really nice. Easy cleanups. Just everything is a breeze. So I got about 3/4 of a cup. I'm happy with that. I'm going to strain that out just in case I have a seed, and I'm going to get all cleaned up. We've got our juice, we have our zest. I've also taken 5 eggs out and let them warm up to room temperature. See you in a bit, gonna get cleaned up. This is everything you're gonna need for pie. In the butter industry, the dairy industry really did a number on the shortening industry. And truth be told, shortening has half the saturated fat of butter, no trans fats, and for my money it makes a better crust. Try it, use it. There's the zest. We have a bowl to mix our flour, water, and everything to make our dough. Have all-purpose flour here, some sugar, have some butter to smooth out our filling once we make the filling. 5 eggs at room temperature and some coarse cornstarch, and we've got a rolling pin and our juice. So I'm going to clear the deck so that we can make our dough. Okay, I'm going to need that. I'm going to move some things out of the way and let's get on it, because this is the hardest part for people. By the way, I also use pie weight ceramic. You're going to need them because we're going to be baking the shell first and then filling it and then topping it with the meringue. In here I have 1 3/4 cups of flour. I have a tablespoon of sugar, a spritz of salt in here, and I'm going to mix this all together really well, and then we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of shortening there and cut that in. The part that really confuses people, which confuses me because it's easy. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of ice water in there, and you can see I got some, I don't know if you can see it, the ice cubes in there, and I'm going to pull from the outside to the inside while I'm rotating the bowl. And now I'm going to start moving it around quickly with my hands because I want an even distribution of the moisture. So I'm going to make a well again, add another tablespoon or so, pull into the center. The way I'm pulling into the center here. Okay, getting this uniformly moist. Okay, still not enough. All right, we're going to put our last tablespoon or so in the middle. Pull it into the center again until we're going to keep adding that ice cold water until we have something that's going to pull together in a nice firm ball. It's not going to be loose. Okay, so we're just going to add. This is where the feel comes in. It's shaggier looking. Okay, we want to make sure when it rolls out, it rolls out well. So that still needs a little bit more. Add a little more. We don't need an ice cube in there. And let's bring it together. There shouldn't be any flour. Now we're going to turn it out on the counter, just like so. My counter is super clean. Always make sure you clean everything beforehand. And I'm going to work this. I'm going to knead this a little bit. I'm not going to overwork it, because if you overwork it, it's going to become tough and it's not going to be nice and flaky. I'm really liking the look of that. That's going to be awesome. Okay, guess what we're going to do now? We're going to put this in the freezer for about 10 minutes to get firm, and then it's going to be rollout time. Now our eggs are at room temperature while we have that dough chilling down in the freezer. We're going to separate our egg whites from the yolk, and this is critical. You're going to be using the egg whites to whip the meringue. But if you don't properly and perfectly separate the yolk from the whites, if the slightest bit of yellow in the yolk gets into the whites, it will not make a meringue. You can whip it and whip it, it's not going to work. So the way that I separate is get my eggs to room temperature. Then I just use my fingers, which are perfectly clean, and I let the whites run down into the bowl. Now you may do them one by one, so in case you make a boo-boo, you're not going to ruin it all. But at room temperature, the eggs, the whites really separate quite nicely, and I never have an issue. So I have the whites here and the yolk over there. All right, there's another one in there. All right, let me wash that off because that yolk started to go a little bit. You may not be able to do this one-handed. This is just a ton of experience, and we are done with that separation. And see, that broke, but I got it out of the way. I got it out of the way of the whites before it could do damage. Okay, now we're gonna sit that aside. It's been about 10 minutes. We're gonna clean up here, get this re-sterilize the counter, and we're gonna roll out our dough. I'm going to be using an Anchor Hocking. This is a 9.5-inch glass, oven safe here, and I'm going to get the spray. We're going to spray that good to prevent the sticking. So this is where you really want to pay attention to make a great pie. Our dough is nicely chilled. We got a rolling pin, we got some flour. This is another useful tool. It's called a bench scraper, and it cleans off the surface. It also helps lift up your pie dough if it's a little sticky. Okay, so I'm going to throw some flour down on the countertop here. I'm going to keep it on the side because I may need some more. I'm also going to flour the rolling pin a bit, and I am going to take the dough ball, pop it on the counter here. I'm going to flatten it out a bit, making sure to always keep some flour underneath of it. Try to avoid putting it on the top because you'll get cracks. Okay, go easy on that. And now we're going to roll it out. Make sure you roll from end to end. We're going to turn it, put some more flour underneath of it here, a tiny little bit up top. We're going to roll this here. Now we're going to go in a few different directions. Okay, and I'm rolling this out to about 1/8 of an inch thick. So, okay, that's looking real good. Gonna roll it a little more. We can use this as a guide. Turned upside down. This is the part that really mystifies people, but it's not really that difficult. Next thing I want to do is flour my rolling pin. I want to gather up the dough on the rolling pin like so, and then I want to drop it into the pan, kind of adjusting as need be if it's a little much on one side or the other. And that is looking perfect. If you have any low spots, you can throw the dough over there. Okay, that's looking good. It's a little low on this side here, so I'm going to add some over here. I'm working it in. I'm not over pressing into the bottom. Okay, and I want to take a fork and I want to do what's called docking. I want to do some fork pricks in the bottom there, just like so. Now I want to take the edge, make sure we're pretty uniform around. There's no real huge overhang. And I want to turn, any extra you have can be used on sides that are a little light. And I want to turn the edge underneath because we're going to make a little bit of a decorative design here. Okay, just like so. Working that on the lips. I'm just turning the outside edge underneath so that I have something good to work with. Now I'm going to make sure that's kind of uniform. All right. And then you're going to take your thumb, forefinger, and your thumb, and we're going to flute this edge by just pushing in. All right. I'm pushing out towards the edge. I'm kind of rolling it. I'm turning it. You can see the pattern I'm creating there. Okay. And I'm just going to finish. I'm pushing it towards the outside and really looking good. And the dough is just, it's a perfect consistency here. Okay. Do not try to put this directly in the oven right now. You think to yourself, oh, that looks great. But what's going to happen is it has no set to it, and when it hits the heat, it's going to all go down from the sides. What I want you to do is take this and put this in the freezer for about 20 minutes, okay? And then we're going to be baking this. So you can put your oven to about 450 degrees. I like to bake with high heat. Are you still with me? You better be. This shell has set perfectly in the freezer there. But we want to take another precaution to make sure that the sides don't come down. So I want you to take some foil, and maybe you have some beans or something like that, some uncooked beans. Some people use that, or rice. I want you to put some foil in the bottom, and then if you can go out and get something called pie weights, put them in the bottom, and that helps to prevent the sides from sliding down when you're blind baking. I'm working the foil into the little where we fluted. We want it to be perfect. I preheated the oven. I also believe in using a baking stone because it rapidly transfers heat to the bottom of the pie plate here. And make sure you have an oven safe one. You don't want a cheap one that's going to explode, okay? So I'm gonna pop this. I got 450 degrees. This is gonna go about 15 or 20 minutes or so. We're gonna remove the pie weights carefully, safely, and then put it in for another 5 or 10 minutes. And then we're done baking our show, okay? Exciting, right? I think while that's baking away, we're gonna make our filling and have that ready to go on the side. So I'm gonna take my cup of lemon juice. I'm going to add about 1 3/4 cups of water in there. I also want to add, let me grab the sugar here. I want to add 1 cup of sugar. All right. Let me get a nice dry measuring spoon. Measuring cup here. Okay. 1/2 cup. This is a big pie, so don't worry. Cut down. I use about, use maybe 3/4 of a cup, and then we want to get 1/4 cup of cornstarch, and this is really critical. A lot of people forget this, and you need to use the cornstarch to thicken things up. That's what's going to help it set, and that's the whole extent of the ingredients. Some people add a little touch of ginger in there to brighten it, but I already think that lemon is a bright enough. You know, why gild the lily, right? So you can take your whisk, start to incorporate that, give a little bit of a rosy shake there, a little teeny taste. And we can go ahead and put our 5 egg yolks in there too. Okay. Get them incorporated. You're also going to have 2 tablespoons of butter softened, because when this sets and hits the gel point where it gets thick, and all of a sudden you know it because it bubbles and it boom, it gets real hard to stir, you're going to put in the butter, and that's going to smooth it. All right, look at that. That beautiful color there. All right, that's a classic lemon meringue. filling. All right. Last thing we really have to do is whip up the egg whites, and you can use KitchenAid mixer. I use a hand mixer. It gets a little loud, but it works. You want to get some cream of tartar, you want a tablespoon of sugar, and your 5 egg whites. I wouldn't make it too early because you need to slam that on top when that filling is super hot. This is where people also go wrong. They'll put the filling in the pie, it gets chilled, then they'll put the meringue on top of it wrong. You're making it dangerous. You want to slam that meringue on top. That meringue has got to be ready to go when this is poured into the shell. That meringue has to be immediately slammed on top of that pie, pulled to the edges, fluffed, and into the oven to get the nice finish that we know on a lemon meringue pie. That heat that's underneath of that meringue is going to make that safe, and it's going to cook those egg whites, and the chances of getting salmonella are reduced to virtually zero. Don't put the meringue on when the pie filling is not piping hot, okay? Big mistake. So it all comes together like a symphony at the end, okay? Stick with me. It's getting more fun by the minute. Oh, by the way, don't forget to add your lemon zest, okay? Very important. That's where all your zing comes from your pie filling, okay? Stir that real good. And, yum, yum. Oh, I love lemon meringue. Woo! I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the pie. It's pretty much set, and I'm gonna remove the pie weights and then put it back in the oven to finish off. Now, this is very dangerous. Don't try to pour them back into a small mouth jar. I just use this cheesecake mold here, and I just carefully pick it up by the edges here. Sit them aside, let them cool down, and then the pie just looks beautiful. It's going to be back in for about 10 more minutes, and it's going to give that beautiful classic finish. Okay? For this part, you might want to cover your ears. This is going to get a little loud here. We're going to make our meringue. I'm starting with the 5 egg whites. I'm going to put about 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar in there. And cream of tartar helps whip and helps them get decent volume. Don't put your sugar in, okay? And then you might want to cover your ears. All right, we're going to go ahead and start whipping this. All right. That's going to mix that cream of tartar in. Don't put your speed too high. You don't have to touch the bottom. And I'm using a nice KitchenAid here. You can see they're already getting foamy in there. Alright. Don't over whip them because then they get tough. Okay. We can have this sitting on the side ready to go. I'm now taking the speed up. And I'll see you in a minute after we get good volume, and then we'll add some sugar. I like to add a little teeny tiny drop of vanilla in there just for a little bit of flavor. Volume's building good. I'm going to go ahead and add about 1 tablespoon of sugar. And that's going to help increase the volume too. Really coming together good. You want to have this to make sure this is ready to go. Get nice and thick. know the meringue's done when it reaches a stiff peak there. So, okay, set that on the side. We're going to re-whip that a little bit once we pull this all together. Pie crust turned out nicely. It's never going to be perfect. It's not a commercial operation. Now it's time. We got our meringue there. We're going to heat up our filling now, the next step. And when this is piping hot, we're going to slam that meringue on top. I'm going to give it one more whip before I put it on top. What I'm doing now is just stirring constantly. We're going to bring this up to the set point. Have your butter ready to go too. I have 2 tablespoons of butter. Once we reach the set point, we're going to pop that butter in and stir it and smooth it, and then we're going to pour it into there. Okay, easy peasy. The reason you want to keep stirring is it helps keep the little bits of lemon peel in here, the zest, keeps that suspended instead of all gathering in one spot. And this also prevents burning too. I can feel it starting to thicken up here. We're reaching the set point. Should kick up big bubbles. Yes. Just reached the gel point. Right there. Look at how that just thickens up. Keep stirring that good. Want that to reach the maximum gel point. Nice big bubbles like that. That's when you've reached it. We're going to drop in our butter, turn off our heat, stir away there. Okay. Exciting part now. We're going to pour that into our shell. Oop. Little extra light on the subject there. Right over the top, that is in the shell. Get all of that lemon goodness out. Just like so. Look at how nice that looks. Now we're going to take our meringue. We're going to give this one more whip. And that's looking perfect. All right, there's our beautiful meringue. Take this out, and we're going to put that in the center down there. How in the heck does that look? Get all of that goodness out of there, okay? And then working from the inside to the edge, we're going to make sure we seal it. This is helping to sanitize the egg whites now and making it safe. Very important. They have the Italian way too of doing with hot sugar syrup, but this is safer. Now we can take our spatula and we can make a little peaks on top of it. Okay. Just like so. Now she's ready to pop in the oven. I'm going to ask Mr. Z to assist me and hold the camera here while we pop it in. All right. Now we've kept our oven at 400 degrees. And pop this in. Be careful, there's hot filling here that's not fully set. Isn't that beautiful? All right, I'm going to pop that in right there. And we're going to give that an initial 5 minutes. Look at how beautiful that looks. And I'll bring you in and I'll give you a close-up here. Thank you, Mr. Z. There she is. Really nice. You can't wait, huh? Thumbs up or appreciate it, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, obviously it has this set here. You can see it's rolling a little bit. It's going to take hours to set.
It's a water bed right
But that's fine. It won't weep because it has the hot set because of the hot filling underneath, and it will be excellent. So Thumbs up are appreciated. Please share. Give it a try yourself. It's not that hard to make a really great looking pie.
How long
Thanks
did it take
again.
from start to finish?
Like an hour. That's
Nice.
about it.